showing you an update, and he seems to be in really good condition for this far out from his competition. However, he's going to do it wrong again. Sorry, I'm telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going to be going over Brandon Harding's new cycle as he prepares for his road to pro, trying to get pro yet again. Last year, he got in mind-blowing, ripped, shredded condition. However, he lost a ton of muscle. He came in the show looking amazing, but didn't have the muscle required to turn pro. This year, he plans to do it differently. He plans to come in bigger, fuller, and just as lean as last time. And in today's video, we're going over his exact cycle. It's not clickbait. We're literally going to go over exactly what he's taking. He's posted his video, my full anabolic stack to get shredded. He's 30 days into the diet, and he started his prep at 242.6 pounds. Currently, he's been dieting for 30 days. So far, lost 12 pounds. He goes through his poses, showing you an update, and he seems to be in really good condition for this far out from his competition. However, he's going to do it wrong again. Sorry, I'm telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You want to hear he's going to come in 10 pounds bigger than last time, he's going to have all this extra muscle, and that he's going to win his IFBB Pro card. But the truth is, he's dieting too hard. Yet again, he's overly restricting calories. He likes to bulk and cut, and what he's doing is he's bulking too much in the off season and forcing his body to cut too hard. Case in point, the proof's in the pudding. He literally says he's going to lose 2 to 3 pounds per week as he prepares for the competition. To lose 1 pound of fat, you need to cut out 3,500 calories from your diet. That equates to 500 calories per day. And so if he's going to lose 2 to 3 pounds per week, that means he has to be in a 1,000 to 1,500 calorie deficit every single day. That, my friends, is too much. It is too much, it's very restrictive, and in the end, you are bound to lose muscle. And consider this, he's literally on PDs, he's taking an anabolic stat, we'll go over that in a bit. But when you're taking this kind of a stack, you should be literally growing into the show. What that means is you should be putting on muscle size as you're dieting. And because he's dieting so hard, it's going to be next to impossible to build muscle as he's dieting. If he had bulked less in the off season, he would be able to cut with more calories. And in doing so, he would literally build more muscle as he's preparing for competition. But he says he's put on 7 pounds of lean tissue since the same time last year. And so he says, this is great, this is amazing. And this might sound amazing, but what is the point of gaining all that muscle if you're going to strip it down as you diet for the competition? When you diet to this extent and you're in a severe calorie deficit, especially for this long, trying to get to 5% body fat, inevitably you're going to lose muscle.
I'm quite happy with how we're looking, considering the fact that we've actually lost just over 12 pounds in the first 4 weeks.
And so what's happened so far? Well, he's dieted for 30 days and lost over 12 pounds. 12 pounds is a lot. That is about the amount of weight I would need to lose on my entire diet for competition. That's right. If I had to compete, I might lose 12 pounds in total over the entire 3 months. He's already done it in 1 month, and he still has a long way to go.
My abs went for so long with the off season. I've not seen like any definition in this area. So sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, bro, look, this is kind of nice to like actually see abs.
And so he says he could barely see his abs in the off season. And so he was clearly never fat. He looks great, amazing. But for bodybuilding purposes, the more fat you put on in the off season, the more you're going to have to cut down to get into competition shape. And so my advice, what I would recommend is that in his off season, he gets to the point he is right now. So picture this. This was his fattest off season weight. He could quite literally start his diet today. He could have avoided the entire 30 days of dieting, of which he lost 12 pounds and probably lost some muscle in the process. And in comparison, instead of cutting for those 30 days, he could have been building and putting on muscle during those 30 days. He could have started his prep a month ago at 232 pounds, and instead of cutting for the last 30 days, been adding muscle tissue for the last 30 days, perhaps gained 4 or 5 pounds of muscle due to the fact that he's currently on a PD cycle.
When, for the longest time in the off-season, I was in a massive surplus and there was no detail showing at all.
And so you can see in the off season, he was in a massive surplus. Do you really think that being in a massive surplus, you're going to put on so much more muscle than in a slight surplus? I'm not saying he has to maintain at 5% body fat, but why go to 15% plus when you don't need to? Perhaps 12 to 15% body fat, that is enough body fat. He could have built the same amount of muscle and continued to build muscle by being a small calorie deficit, maybe 500 calories per day. Imagine if he only had to drop 1 pound of fat each week instead of 2 to 3. Imagine how much easier his competition prep would be. Imagine how much more muscle he could have when he gets to stage time. And so as we watch him training here, he's 30 days into prep. He looks great. And would this not be an amazing way to look year round? Would this not be a look that he could maintain year round? And then when it comes to dieting time, he wouldn't have to diet as long? Perhaps cut off an entire month of contest prep that he really doesn't need. Why not just look like this? Why not bulk to this point on a very lean bulk and not dramatically increase those calories? But hey, that's perhaps for another prep.
I did an injection in my lat, and my lat on this side has been absolutely pulsating the entire workout.
My recommendation, rather than doing injections in the lats, do the delts, do one side, then the next, and then go to the glutes. Upper and outer quadrant here, as well as there. A lot better to do that. And so please ensure you have at least 1 week between injections in the same location, and obviously do so with the consent of your doctor.
And that, conjoined with a juicy back pump, is quite stretching for the fascia.
And if you do have to use your lats, my recommendation, don't go above 1.5 cc's. It's not a spot that can handle a lot of volume. Different spots can handle more volume. If you're used to doing shots all the time, perhaps you can do 3 cc's in a lot of your areas. But if you're new to the sport, perhaps 1.5 cc's or less. That is something that most people can handle with little to no pain.
Cardio is now at 30 minutes. I'm not sure if I told you that it was slightly increased, whereas before it was a little bit slower than that, but considering we're getting a little bit more fit.
And so notice this, he's doing cardio more often now. He's getting more fit, more endurance. He's able to go at a faster pace, and he's recovering better between sets. His workout in the weights, it's better. It's enhanced because he's doing cardio. My advice, year-round cardio. I can't stress it enough. So many people think, no, in the off-season, cut way back on your cardio, save it for when it's contest prep time. Then you can add the minutes and get more and more cardio at that point. Why? Why do that? Become a better butter burner. And so consider in that same 30 minutes of cardio, you might be burning double the calories. Why? Because you're more fit. You can go at a faster pace. He's walking at 6%. Maybe he walks at 12%, burns significantly more calories. And so don't neglect your cardio. Do it year round. You'll burn more calories when you do the cardio. You'll be leaner year round. You'll be able to eat more, and you'll have to diet for fewer amount of weeks to get into contest shape. It's a win-win, no-brainer situation. Also great for your heart. How can you avoid cardio?
Before Callum does decide to change the stack and increase whatever we're taking, potentially add in something else, this is something that I have absolutely no power of.
And so Brandon's saying he has no power, no control over the stack that he's taken because his coach is saying, take this. My opinion, always discuss what you're doing with your coach. Say, I don't like this. Can you explain to me why I'm doing this? Why is it this many milligrams? And why is it this compound, not that compound? Explain it in a way that you understand and allow you to ask for questions and perhaps make changes. Perhaps you don't want to take that much of something. Perhaps you'd rather try something else. It shouldn't be, hey, take this. I'm your coach. That's your dose. Too bad. Don't feel that they're the coach, they're the boss. It's their way or the highway. You should have every right to speak up and say, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. It's your body. In the end, the coach has to help you. They have to be able to make the alterations, the changes that you need.
So I am going to break it down with what we do take to start the day, which is 2 IU of GH. We have 4 IU of GH split between the morning and the nighttime.
And so he's taking growth hormone 2 IUs twice a day. I personally see nothing wrong with that. I just don't think he needs it. It's his choice. It's his body. I personally don't think it's something he needs to add at this point. What is it going to do? Well, it's going to help him build a little bit more muscle and burn a little bit more fat. And so obviously it's going to be a benefit. I just think he should be able to make the improvements he needs without it. If he can't get an IFBB Pro card without growth hormone, how is he going to do as an actual pro? If his goal in life is just to turn pro and retire from the sport and give up, sure. But if you actually want to make it as a pro, you should be able to get to being a pro without growth hormone and add it at that point.
Proviron, that started straight away, is at 25 25 milligrams every single morning.
And so he's going to take Proviron at 25 milligrams a day, but likely it would be better to split it up into a divided dose, perhaps 12.5 milligrams in the morning, 12.5 milligrams at night. But I know that can get annoying, splitting pills in half. But he's perhaps adding this because he wants to increase the strength of the cycle, make the testosterone work better, free up more testosterone. He likely doesn't want to have any kind of gyno formation, so he's looking for lean and dry gains. He might, in fact, be taking the Proviron to improve his libido. After all, he is going on a severe calorie deficit, and when you're not eating a lot of food, you can notice a dip in your desire to have sex, or perhaps he doesn't want to lose that. That could be another reason for taking Proviron.
Clenbuterol, that actually started, that's the only thing that actually has increased. We started at 40 micrograms, and now we're on 60 micrograms.
Next up, Clenbuterol. I couldn't disagree more with him starting this so early. Why are you starting Clen this early? At the start of the prep already and starting at 40 micrograms, that's at least twice what you should be starting at. I literally ended my last cleanse cycle at under 40 milligrams, around 37.5. So you're starting at 40, already bumping up to 60. This is way too much. You should be able to burn fat without the addition of Clen. Clen is something you add in later. Once you've hit a plateau and you can't lose any more fat, that is when you add Clen. You don't do it at the start of a prep. Makes no sense. You should be able to start a prep and like that, lose body fat. You've added in some cardio, you're reducing calories. That's all you need. You don't need to throw in a fat burner on day one. Makes no sense, but hey, your body, your choice. But what's going to happen is you're going to have to keep upping that dose. Your body gets used to Clen very quickly. And if you continue the same dose, 40 or 60 micrograms, and you do it for several months, it's not going to work anymore. You're not going to feel it. And so I'd much rather see you add Clen closer to the contest when you actually need it, when you're starving, have no energy, and you really need something to take to give you that extra oomph to get you through the day. So right now, bad choice.
We have started pretty much at the beginning this time, especially considering where we started. Like I think I started like a little bit higher body fat than the last prep.
And so he's saying he started the Clen earlier because he started at a higher body fat this prep than the last one. Why are we starting preps at higher body fat percentage? Why? I don't get it.
On the left is me 10 weeks out last year, and on the right is me 10 weeks out this year. There is exactly 7 pounds of weight difference.
And so he says, it's 10 weeks out now, and I'm exactly 7 pounds bigger than last time. And so I've put on a lot of muscle, I look a lot better. And that's great, but if we're using extra fat burners such as Clen to get to that point, are we really ahead? If we played our cards earlier this time and we're at the same level of leanness, but we had to use more drugs to get there, are we in fact ahead? But what I really hope is that Brandon doesn't have to dramatically decrease his calories the way he did last time. Remember, he was eating under 2,000 calories a day, had to be losing a ton of muscle as he got closer to the show. So his goal this year should be to be leaner than last year. He should be ahead of schedule. At 10 weeks out in both pictures, he should be leaner now at 10 weeks out than he was last. Why? Because last year he was behind schedule. How do I know that? Because he had to dramatically decrease his calories. So the coach should know and realize, hey, last year we had to slash calories. This year, we're not doing that. Last year, we lost a ton of muscle. We're not doing that again this year. We're going to be leaner than last time at 10 weeks out. And so it makes no sense that he would have started his prep with a higher body fat percentage. Should have been leaner to start his prep, been leaner the entire time, and had more calories throughout.
Next, we are on 20 micrograms of Yembine. This is in the morning, PEB the Clen, PEB the GH. We do all these things before cardio.
And next up, 20 milligrams of Yembine. I can tell you right now, if I took even a quarter of that, I would get sick. I can't handle it. It makes me feel nauseous. I don't like it. But if you can handle it, if you can tolerate it, certainly can help you get through your mornings, get you less hungry, boost your metabolism, make you perhaps feel better. For me, the opposite. Feel like crap. Don't want to train, feel sick. If you can handle it, sure, be my guest, try it. Do so with the advice of your doctor. But if you're like me, be careful and at least start very low in the dose and work your way up if you can, in fact, tolerate it.
We have test enanthate, primo enanthate, and mastron enanthate. Test, mast, and primo.
And what is he going to take? Testosterone, mastrone, and primo. Testosterone, that is the base of pretty much any cycle. Everyone should be taking testosterone as a base. How much? He's only going to be taking 300 milligrams. I do believe he wants to look lean throughout the cut. He doesn't want to convert too much testosterone to estrogen, doesn't want to get gyno, and so he's going very low on the testosterone. 300 milligrams, certainly lower than almost any cycle I've ever seen for anyone trying to get a pro card. However, he's adding mastrone and primo to that. And what is the difference? Well, mastrone masteron and primo are not going to convert to estrogen. That means lean, solid, dry gains. This is kind of an athletic stack, a movie star stack. This would be something that anyone would take to look good throughout the summer. They're not going to get a lot of bloating, the moon face, the water retention. And so these are some of my favorite compounds. If I were to do a cycle again, I absolutely would be doing tests with masteron or primo. You technically don't need both. You could do masteron or primo, but there is no harm in using a little bit of masteron and a little bit of primo.
A pretty solid stack to start with. We're not starting with anything crazy. We're not on Tren. To be honest, I don't know if I'm going to touch Tren the entire prep.
As far as Tren, he doesn't know if he's going to take it at all. He took some Tren last year and says his legs swell up. Well, it might be from the Tren, or it could be just coincidence. Could be from doing all that cardio. It could be from the training. It could be a number of things. And so one problem with contest prep is you never know exactly what's causing the situation. Just because you took Tren doesn't mean that the Tren caused the side effects that you're seeing. You could take Tren on one day, the next day feel this, get bloated and so on, but it's not from the Tren. It might be from the food that you ate. And so although I can understand not wanting to use Tren, I do believe that if he wants to get a pro card and he's not using Tren, that's a mistake for him. Think of how bad he wants this. He's using growth hormone. He's done insulin in the off season. He's bulked up. He's doing everything and anything to win a pro card. That doesn't make sense to me. Tren being one of the best, and although more dangerous, but it's one of the best supplements to put on size, dry, lean gains, the stuff you need to win a friggin' show.
We're on a 300 test, 500 primo, and 200 mast.
And so he's going to be doing 500 primo, and primo is about 2/3 as strong as testosterone. So that would be equivalent to doing about 350 milligrams of test in terms of how much muscle will it actually put on. Masteron, only 200. So only about 150 milligrams, also about 2/3 as strong as test. And so the total injections for the week, 1,000 milligrams, of which only 300 is test. So very weak cycle for someone trying to turn pro. However, this is the start of his contest prep. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. And so this to me makes sense. Although if I were coaching him, perhaps if he wanted to do something similar, I would say, why not just do the same amount of each? 350 milligrams of all three.
Split between 4 injections of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, break, and then go again on Monday.
And he says he's doing 4 injections a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Makes absolutely no sense. 0 sense. Think of it. Why are we doing so many injections? We want to have more stable blood levels. Well, if you want to have more stable blood levels, why are we doing 2 injections in a row, taking a day off, and then doing 2 injections in a row, and then taking 2 days off? That makes absolutely no sense. Why not do 1 day on, 1 day off all the time? What does that equate to? 3.5 injections a week. Do you think it's difficult to do that? It is simple math. And so if you're trying to do 300 milligrams in a week, you divide it by 4. If you're doing 4 shots, it's 4. 75 milligrams each time, it's going to make 300. However, you could just as easily do 3 shots in a week. Divide it by 3. 300 milligrams divided by 3, you could do 100 milligrams 3 times a week. And if you're doing injections every other day, it technically works out to 3.5 injections per week. 7 divided by 3.5 is 2. If you're injecting every 2 days, you have to do 3.5 shots a week. You take 300 milligrams divided by 3.5, it tells you exactly how much to inject every other day. You do that for every compound. 500 milligrams of Prevo divided by 3.5, that tells you how much to do every other day. And so would it not be easier to just say, I'm going to inject 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, and repeat that all the time? That would allow for even more stable blood levels. Think of it. Every other day. Does that not sound more consistent than 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, 1 off, and repeating like that? Makes no sense. You're not going to have as much of the peaks and valleys. You're going to have a better, stable blood work by doing it every other day.
I'm literally choosing to get my pro card at the hardest show in England, the Arnold Classic in September, where there are going to be so many amazing competitors.
And I like how he puts this. I'm choosing to get my pro card at the hardest show. Notice he doesn't say, I'm choosing to try to get my pro card. In your mind, sometimes you have to convince yourself that you got this. You're going to win. Sometimes it's easier to just convince yourself, I'm going to win. I'm getting my pro card on this day. I'm dieting this way. I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to win. Rather than saying, maybe, I hope to, I kind of wish I could, should have, all this cards align and so on. That's a good way too. But for some people, they just want to feel they got it. And so nothing wrong with speaking confidently, saying, I got this. I'm winning my pro card at the hardest show.
I definitely think this year we need to pull size. I definitely think this year that we've added tissue, but to really get a pro card to stand up there with the big boys, we're going to require some fullness too.
And I think Brandon is overcomplicating things, thinking that it's the last day or two that caused his lack of fullness, that he didn't have enough carbs for 2 days before the show versus 1 day before the show versus the diuretics versus not the diuretics, what he's eating and so on. It makes a big difference. Yes, it does. It can make a huge difference. But a bigger difference is eating under 2,000 calories a day as the show approaches. You're going to lose so much muscle in the final few weeks before the show, a lot more than the last day or two, how much of difference the pump can make, how much carbs can make a difference. It makes a difference, yes, but a bigger difference is growing into the show and not losing muscle by starving yourself. And so I hope he's losing weight at a fast enough pace. I do think he overbulked. I think he's over dieting, but if he doesn't keep dieting, he will end up having to crash diet at the end. And so unfortunately, he has to stay in a 1,000 to 1,500 calorie deficit every single day. I do think he will lose muscle. I believe that in a year from now, when he preps again and he diets easier on more calories, stays in better shape in the off season, he will come in much fuller. His goal probably is to be 7 pounds bigger than last year. I don't think that's enough. I think he needs more muscle than 7 pounds. And so last year, I feel he lost 7 pounds of muscle because he over dieted heading into the show. And so I was hoping to see this year that he would stay leaner in the off season, that he wouldn't diet as hard, but I feel like the same thing's going to happen. And so if he does show up with 7 more pounds than last year, well, hey, that's great. And so for me, I would have hoped to see him gain at least 10 pounds of muscle from last year. Consider this guy is 6'2", competing in the 190s. He has to get bigger than that. These guys at 6'2", likely going to be over 220 pounds. Best of luck to Brandon. Maybe he can win it. Who knows? Maybe he gets the size we need. Time will tell. We'll follow his prep, see how he's doing. Best of luck to Brandon. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IP Pro. Please check out the bloops. Also, don't forget Harder Than Last Time supplements. I got them over there. Lots of supplements, including Turk Builder, creatine, pre-workouts, all kinds of stuff. Click the link in the description. Also, the hard copy cookbook, training books, all kinds of stuff. Click the bell button, subscribe, comment for the algorithm. And check out GregDoucette.com for coaching and Greg Doucette IP Pro on Instagram. And until next time, I am out.